lives of volunteer organisations working in their spare time to provide specialist emergency cover in their areas. One of them, the Mendip Cave Rescue organisation, has helped us to reconstruct one of their most dangerous rescue operations, with the original team recreating exactly what happened one day in June. It began early in the evening, 2 university students setting out on a caving expedition. Douglas Gauld and Kevin Martin, played here by actors, are relaxing after their final exams.
I always think I did worse than I actually do.
They're experienced cavers. Doug runs the college caving club, and both have explored the caves in the Mendips many times before.
What are we going to do today?
Oh, come on, let's do the black hole, eh? We've got enough stuff, haven't we?
The black hole is 500 feet below ground, part of that complex of caves collectively called Swildons Hole. It's a tough test, but one of the most popular places to cave in the country. On that day, there were several other groups exploring other caves nearby. Doug and Kevin went underground just after 7 o'clock in the evening. They planned a 4-hour expedition, but it didn't quite work out that way.
You get wet very quickly in Swildon, unlike some caves where you can stay dry even though there's a stream passage in it. And there's quite a few areas where you have to go through the falling water. It's always cold, and it's always a bit of a shock to the system when you start off, but we had wetsuits on, we had all the equipment, and as long as you keep moving, you stay quite warm. The cave goes down through a few drops. Most of them can be hang climbed, and there's some quite pretty formations on the way.
What's this called? The old grotto.
Wet down here, isn't it?
Wow, you're in the streamway.
There's the odd tight bit, and then you arrive at the sump.
Well, the sump, basically, is where a passage dips down and the water fills the passage. In other words, the caver coming down the cave will have to duck under the water and carry on into the dry passages beyond.
Going through the sump is always quite a challenge. It's what you do when you first go through is go completely under the water on your side. And you can really feel your skin shrink. It's that cold.
Over here.
We went through the sump and then found the black hole series, which I hadn't been through before. We found our way through there. It's quite muddy and tight. You lose the stream passageway. And then arrive at the pitch.
The pitch is simply a part of the cave where there is the way on is down a hole in the floor. And the only way to descend is down a wire ladder or by descending a rope. In the case of the black hole, it's about 40 feet from the top to the floor of the pitch.
Now, there should be a belay around here somewhere. Can you see it?
No, can't see it.
Looking further down.
We couldn't find a bolt point to attach the wire to the ladder to.
All right. I'll look onto this.
There you go.
This rock for a minute, yeah? Just to have a closer look.
I was looping the rope up so it'd be used as a safety rope for Doug. It was going to be wrapped around my back, so that if he did fall, he wouldn't go very far. While I was still winding it up in my hands, Doug stepped across onto the ladder.
Can't see it, Kev!
Doug! Doug!
His lamp was pointing straight upwards in my eyes, and the noise coming from his chest
Doug!
gave the impression that he was about to die. It sounded as though his chest had been crushed.
Oh, Doug! I'm gonna go for help! I'll be back!
A man suddenly appeared, waving his arms and shouting, and was really sort of very panicked. We stopped, he got to us, and I don't know, for that first 30 seconds, he just couldn't speak. He was really out of control. It finally became clear to us that something had happened down the cave, and I then left my friends to make their own way out and raced out of the cave to organise a cave rescue. Police, please.
The 999 call was made at 9 o'clock, half an hour after Doug fell. Yeovil police passed on the details to Roger Dawes, the landlord of the Hunters Lodge Inn in Priddy, where members of the Mendip Cave Rescue organisation can nearly always be found.
Yeovil police on the telephone. An incident in Swildon's beyond the sump.
Okay, sir. Rescue.
Initially, we had very little information. All we knew was that someone had fallen down the black hole. Now, that's a 40-foot deep shaft. No one can fall that far without sustaining some physical damage, so straight away we realised it was a serious incident. He sustained his fall at about 8:30. That was 500 feet below the entrance and over 3,500 feet from the entrance, so they'd been a long way underground.
Doug! It'll be all right. Don't worry.
While I was waiting, my main concern was to keep Doug talking, to make sure he didn't drift off, or to make sure he was still sensible.
He'll be here soon.
And let him know that help was arrived, keep on reassuring him, basically. I know when somebody did eventually arrive, I was very cold. You know, feeling pretty demoralised by the whole situation, but it was great to see someone.
All right, mate. Down there.
All right.
Down there.
Keep clear, we don't want to end up with another one down there.
Okay.
Hello!
The cold is a killer. Probably takes more deaths than anything underground, I suppose. You don't realise if you're going to find somebody who's still conscious. You may find a corpse. You don't know. You've got to prepare yourself for that. In Doug's case, he was fully conscious, which was good. He had a space blanket with him, which probably saved his life. That kept him warm and conscious.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Right, dive!
Once they decided that Douglas could be moved fairly quickly, rather than wait for the inconvenience of the stretcher, Darnie Bradshaw put Douglas on his shoulders, and with a tight rope from Douglas to the top of the pitch, Darnie basically climbed the cave-in ladder with someone on his shoulders, which is a fairly extraordinary feat.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, mate.
Right, he's all yours now. I didn't stop at all at the ladder pitch, because if you stop on the electron ladder, you tend to drop away from the top, especially if you've got somebody on top of you like that. And any strength that you've got in your arms that you're trying to keep yourself upright on is going to diminish quickly.
Doug couldn't stand, and so as well as a broken wrist, they were afraid his pelvis was broken too. He began the long and painful journey nearly 3/4 of a mile, strapped into a stretcher through narrow, twisting, wet passages, still suffering from shock.
That night seemed to go on forever. It was the longest night of my life, and there was a radio on the wall, and occasionally I could hear where Doug had got to, and at times he hadn't moved anywhere in hours, and yeah, it was a really long wait.
When we reached the sump, Doug was aware enough of what was going to happen. It's no problem to an able caver, like. You just pull yourself through on a rope. But a guy who's in a stretcher, it's a different kettle of fish.
The 3 breaths, and we'll push you down, and we'll go forward, okay? The other team are there, and they will bring you back, okay? Pull you through, no problem at all, okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay, down.
Right, here he comes, Dad. There he is. Well done, Doug.
It was a long haul, and Doug was through the sump by 1:30 in the morning, but there was another 5 hours of hard work ahead. 32 cave rescuers were involved, carrying more than 200 weight of equipment. Doug reached the surface at 6:05, 10 hours after his fall.
Doug was very good. His spirits was very, very high. A bit like, I think, most people when they get trapped underground, they realise an ambulance isn't going to come and suddenly pick them up. You can't suddenly flip your cigarette case open and say, beam me up, Scotty.
Doug's spirits were very high. He helped himself. People who think this is it and curl up, that's it, they die.
Go on. Doug was taken to the Royal United Hospital at Bath, where he spent 3 days. He was lucky. His pelvis wasn't broken, just bruised.
I had my wrist in plaster for approximately 4 or 5 weeks, and It took a while after the plaster was removed to get full movement back in my fingers and thumb, but now it's more or less a full recovery. So I've got immense gratitude towards the rescue organisations, and I really appreciate the efforts and the amount of people that were involved in that rescue. I have a lot to thank them for.
The ending to that story could so easily have been very different. Had Doug and Kevin not gone out as a team? Had they not known what to do when disaster struck?